Do I say it?
Welcome.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And I guess Kate,
Has announcements?
does anybody have announcements right now?
All right.
Or else I'm gonna pass it over to Jill.
Jill, I'm gonna jump in and have announcements because you know how it goes.
Kate,
Happy Halloween,
then
everybody.
speaking
Oh,
of,
speaking of the microphone, see, I've got Mary here to tell me how to do this because we mentor one another here, whether we're brand new or not. We have 5 guests in the house. I'm so excited this morning. Everyone, make yourselves comfortable and happy Halloween, blessed Samhain. That's what I celebrate. Celtic or ancient origin of Halloween is Irish. Those of you who know me, I'm Kate. I run a big Celtic festival with my family, and Halloween is my favorite. I'm super excited. So I'd love everybody to kind of get situated. We've got guests on Zoom, we've got guests in the room, and I'm going to ask that Mary bring me the clipboard when she has a chance, our Sergeant at Arms. I'm your immediate past president, and my announcement is in the mail. I got last year's President's Distinguished because you earned President's Distinguished. So we will now hang that on our banner. And I am thrilled that we have our district director in the house. Avis is back with us today. Avis, please stand. Woohoo. Would you like to welcome your guests today? And you can do the microphone so anybody on Zoom can hear you, or I can relay it if you'd rather not. Okay. Steve, contest winner, Steve. Steve's amazing. Steve and Jennifer, pleasure to have you from Clarence Toastmasters and a contest winner last year. Very exciting. We have Katie Reese on Zoom who is listening in. She's observing and driving safely. So she may not speak today, but is looking forward to join us in November. And our newest member tomorrow, November 1st, is Maggie. It's official. Maggie, welcome to the club. Bravo. And I have other awards, but I'll save those for another day because those folks are not here today. Let us get to our who's here and who's in the space. We have our guests. We said Steve and Jennifer and Avis and Maggie as a new member and Katie on Zoom. And on Zoom, we have Mark and Eric, Margot, David Jones. Welcome, all of you. In the room, we have Joe Budnick and Len Thornton, Nancy Ferry, Jackie Kenny, Marty Johnston, Mike Florio, David Channon, Mary Cavanero, and Steve Smith, and Carol Halstead, and Sylvia. I don't know why I started saying last names, and now I'm throwing myself up. Sylvia Baptiste, and Tracy Farrell, and Jill right here. And I'm Kate. I will now hand this over to our Toastmaster of the day, Jill. Celebrating Easter today, obviously, like she said last week. To Jill, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, Katie has masks to share if you would like to indulge. I mean, there's a few of us that are in the spirit here. Not too many, but a few. And some are in the spirit just with a sweatshirt, but okay. Different kind of spirit, yes. Okay. Steve Smith is our inspiration today. Let's see what he came up with.
Thank you. I don't have to move the mic. Yeah. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I wandered weak and weary over many a quaint, curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if something gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, seeking entrance at my door. Merely this, and nothing more. The opening lines of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. It seemed to me an appropriate way to introduce today's theme of Halloween, where we all get together and enjoy being scared. What is it in our primal nature that drives us to enjoy, to seek out being scared? We'll explore this today. Will we ever overcome our need to find scary things? Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Well, that was quite your prepared inspiration. Katie Orr, as long as you're standing up, you are the general evaluator today. So I'm going to bring you up and let you talk about what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am. I am the general evaluator, and if you didn't pick up a beautiful agenda, you really ought to. They are quite nice. You can follow along as we go. And I am eager to evaluate our meeting, our Toastmaster, and our evaluators today. Back to you, Jill. Oh, wait, one more thing. Usually, it's only at the holiday Christmas party that we get Mrs. Budnack's cookies. But today is Halloween, and Joe brought Mrs. Budnack, his mom's cookies. Be sure to get some treats galore.
Okay, I'm looking forward to some speeches so I can indulge. Yay. Tracy Farrell is our WAG master, so let's hear what you've got for us today, Tracy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today's word is berserk, meaning crazy, deranged, or overtaken by a violent nature. So if you want to describe your chainsaw murderers to your bloodthirsty zombies, berserk is the perfect word today. Please use it as often as possible. Berserk.
Berserk. Berserk. I'm going to write that down. Maybe I will use it a little bit more often. Our quote master was Beth Banks, but she's not going to be with us, so Avis is going to do it for us. I recruited her as she was standing. Beth is recovering well, and she said, thank you all for the card.
Thank you, Jill. I pretty much don't have a voice this morning. Why is it, this is my quote, why is it that there are always more kids that come to the door than live in the neighborhood? Yeah. And the other one is, so I picked two because I didn't know if that was powerful enough. The other one is forgotten. See, that's a quote.
Favorite quote of all, forgotten. Yes. Mike Florio is our jester. Let's see what he's come up with today.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I'm going for volume here, not quality. So just so you know, right? What kind of card games don't vampires like? In fact, it drives them berserk. They don't like high stakes games.
Oh.
This one's not bad. Why are ghosts such bad magicians? Because you can see right through them. All right. I've been through all of these. Hold on. What should, we'll say, heavy ghosts do? They should exercise more. Woo, tough crowd, tough crowd. I'm going to get out while the getting's good here. Why did the vampire die of a broken heart? Because he loved in vain. Ow.
Alrighty. And our timer, Nancy Ferry, is already on her way up here.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This morning I will be timing all the speeches, the table topics, and the evaluators. And timing is very important in our meetings. It helps us to have boundaries. We need boundaries in our life. One thing that I didn't learn as a child was boundaries, and I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to do that. So the table topics are 1 to 2 minutes, or 1.5 to 2 minutes. The timer light will go on at, what do we do? Green, 1:25, yellow at, I can't read my reading. 1:30 and 2 with a 15-second buffer. Prepared speeches are usually 5 to 7 minutes with a 30-second buffer. And evaluators are, what are they, 3 minutes? 2 to 3 minutes, yes. And I will hope that you don't go berserk with the time. And everyone will stay on time and the lights won't have to go too past red.
All right, Sylvia Baptiste is our quiz master for the day. What is she gonna hammer us with?
Morning. As quiz manager this morning, I am going to have a few questions, not many, and we'll see if everyone has been paying attention. And I did go berserk on one of my children this morning because he called at 5 a.m. So when you hear the phone ring at 5 a.m., you think the worst, but it wasn't.
You should have known by now. All right, as we know, Halloween is today. So tonight, all the trick-or-treaters will be out. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but over the last 15, 20 years, the parents are going out decorating themselves in costume as much as the kids are. It's become quite the family affair. I remember going out and my mother barely was with us and stood in the background and didn't console me very much when I got a hole in my bag of candy and lost half of it. The things you remember. But anyhow, as you might see from your agendas, I've put a few pictures of our current display down there on the bottom. Steve and I go a little berserk. Just a little. Yes, we go a little berserk. I'm not sure how many lights we have. We have no idea. I do not count them. It's probably close to 15 or 20,000. And Steve is shaking his head, yes. Yeah. And we have numerous animatronics all around our property. We have an 18 by 20 tent set up in front of our garage so that in addition to going through the patio part, which is roughly 10 by 15, which is set up with all kinds of things. You go into the main garage, which has got the regular functions of our man cave type of garage, a bar, big screen TV, couple recliners, which Steve was very reluctant when we put them in, but he falls asleep in them regularly. And then you go into the tent. And this is after you've gone through the whole Halloween trail out front. So I will talk more about the Halloween trail after Eric Schneider does table topics. So Eric.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guests. Halloween, favorite time of the year. We all dressed up, go out trick-or-treating, eat a bunch of candy, and get sick the next day. So I'd like to ask our first contestant, Maggie. Maggie, are you interested in doing the table topics?
Dave Licata says she's a member now. She has to.
All right.
It's time we stop calling on the newbies. Week after week after week.
Maggie, your question is, what is your most memorable Halloween costume that you had or your family members dressed up as? And use the word berserk.
My most memorable Halloween costume is this one because it's me. I mean, does anybody see that? You think I didn't dress up. I know you think I didn't dress up. Does anybody know who I am? Velma Dinkley. Velma Dinkley. I am. And Velma Dinkley is an inspiration to women. She's probably the first STEM person that we saw on television, science, technology, engineering, and math. She showed us that heroes come in all shapes and sizes, and women don't have to be hot to be hot. So I look at Velma. I grew up in the 60s. Velma was invented in probably 1967, but came on air in 1969. I was 8 years old. So really a role model for someone like me. I did end up going into a technical field, and I taught photography, cinematography for quite a few years. So knowing that, there's my knowing that were women that did things that most of my girlfriends weren't doing. I grew up in a rural area in the Niagara region on the other side of the border. We did pioneer days. We learned how to bake. We learned how to sew. I can sew, knit, crochet, bake, make my own dishes, many things that were considered very feminine. But I always thought I was a tomboy. I wanted to climb trees. I wanted to do things that weren't being done. And so happy Velma. Berserk.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Would I guess Steve like to come up and do a table topics?
Thank you very much. You're welcome. All right.
Steve, good morning. Welcome. Good to
Morning.
see you. Steve, I bet you like candy, right?
I like to eat.
So what is your favorite type of Halloween candy? Or what is your least favorite type of Halloween candy? And remember, use the word berserk. Steve.
Wow. Let me tell you, when it comes to Reese's peanut butter cups, I go berserk. They are the absolute best. And it's not just the Reese's peanut butter cup, but the white chocolate Reese's peanut butter cup. That absolutely makes the cake. So I definitely love the Reese's peanut butter cup white chocolate. I also find that I am a Twizzlers person. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are there any other Twizzler people out in the crowd? I'm seeing a lot of hands. No. I love Twizzlers. Yes. And they have a couple different flavors of the ones with the red ones, but Twizzlers are definitely my secondary one that I like. And then the third one that I really enjoy are any of the, are they Cowtails? The one with the caramel with the cream in the middle? Those are an oldie but goldie, and I absolutely love the Cowtail candy. So one quick little story that I just wanted to share is when we were going out Halloween trick-or-treating, we would always make our costumes. And my favorite costume that I ever made was going as a kitchen sink. So I had a cardboard box in front of me. I had a little Tropicana orange juice container as the drain of it. And I would go around, and when I would ask for people to do it, I asked them to put it down the drain. So there's my favorite candy and a short Halloween story for you all to enjoy. Thank you very much, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Thank you very much, Steve. All right, one more. Mr. Licata. Oh, Dave. Dave, what is your most memorable Halloween memory you have? And keep it under 2 minutes.
Please repeat the question once he gets up here.
Okay. Dave, what is your most memorable Halloween experience, or what is your favorite memory? Remember to use Berserk.
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. Oh, that's right. Like I've never been this before. I was down at Brockport studying television. I don't know enough about this. Yes. All right. I spent my wonder years at 126 Windermere Road, Lockport, New York, in the Carlisle Gardens. The Carlisle Gardens was started about 1925. It was Lockport's first subdivision, and all the swell people wanted to live there. It was amazing. But my Halloweens for me were never that berserk. And I had a special angle. Licata Brothers Wholesale, which my dad was a Licata brother, along with his brothers, and they wholesaled candy. So our house was do not miss. And I remember how sad I found out. I was about 4.5 years old, and I found out that every kid's father didn't have a a warehouse full of candy. It was sad. The guy across the street was selling Buicks, but I'd rather have the candy. But Halloween, it's when you get older, and I kind of have this little Van Morrison problem about moon dances, and not loaded with Halloween memories. I know that we finally wised up in the gardens because we were very thorough, and we learned that pillow sacks were better than brown paper bags. They were sturdier, and we go like crazy. We try to hit every house. Now, Mr. Watson, 2 doors down, he had a garage. He pulled up the garage door. There's the table. There's the cider. There's the donuts. And that's why I call it my wonder years. Thank you so much, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Dave. Could I get a word master report, please?
We can, thank you, Eric. Maggie used it once, Steve used it once, and Dave used it once. So I'll qualify as far as the word goes.
Thank you very much. And Nancy, for timing, how do we do with timing?
Well, I'm excited to say that all 3 of our contestants did very well. Maggie 201, Steve 141, and Dave 2. Sounds like they all qualified in that department.
Thank you very much. So please cast your ballots, and someone will be collecting in the room, and Line will have it online. And I'll turn things over back to our Toastmaster, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Now, at this point, I was going to do this before Eric, but I forgot. I'm going to offer a toast to all the little ghouls and goblins and other assorted things we're going to see pass through our yards tonight. I know for us, probably the most interesting to see maneuver will be those inflatable T-Rexes as they try and make their way through our garage. So hopefully they can all do this without any problems. So a toast to Halloween. To Halloween. You're here. And I have to say, I never heard of cowtail candy. There. I don't know what's wrong with me here.
Chestnut and Washburn, they're ready to check out. They're in a little cup. They're from the same people that brought you the bullseyes, the gotcha caramel.
Oh, okay. Our candy,
They used to wholesale those.
our candy and coffee crew says they used to wholesale them. And that we can pick them up at Niagara Produce. Okay. Our speaking portion. Our first evaluator is Mike Licata, who will be evaluating Carol Ann. So Mike, tell us what Carol Ann is talking about.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guests this morning. Carol Ann is working out of the presentation mastery path. Her is a level 3 project, Inspire Your Audience. The purpose of the speech is to write and practice a speech that inspires your audience. Madam Timer, the time is 5 to 7 minutes, and I don't have a title either. I'm sorry. You can just announce it when she does it.
Carol Ann with Farm Festival. Let's welcome Carol Ann.
Before we start, Madam Timer, I would like to mention that the favorite horror movie of mine was The House of Wax. I saw it in 3D as a child. It's very, very impressive. It was about a person who owned a wax museum that had a tragic fire, and he went berserk. And Vincent Price, of with his piercing blue eyes and that voice, was the star. Okay. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our welcome guests. You're traveling east out of Alcott on Route 18, Lake Road. You're proceeding down the road, you go by Margam Manor. And keep going. There's a signpost up ahead. It's the Somerset Farm Festival. You pull into the free parking lot. And the first thing you see is some colorful classic cars. Then there's quite a noisy little section that has hit and miss gas engines on display. And then there's many tractors of all ages and types. And as you proceed on, there is a massive barn. And you can go through the top level and the bottom level. And I think that barn just seems a little bigger than average that you see along the road. And if you're hungry, there is a spot to buy hot dogs and a soft drink. And if you want a delicious full meal, you can buy a chicken dinner, which is provided by the Barker Lions Club. And they're very good, and they do sell out quickly. There is a blacksmith shop and some other wood carving shop, just different things that happened how things were done years ago. We always enjoy the horse-drawn wagon ride around the perimeter of the cornfield. And you can observe a horse pulling a corn binder from yesteryear. Another feature is the Babcock House. This was built in 1848, and it's made from the cobblestone, and it's quite impressive looking. You can tour it. There's always a person to answer your questions. There's vintage furniture and paintings. I was impressed with the painting of Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. My granddaughter went on a tour of the house with my daughter, her mom. And when she was quite young, just walking and talking. And I don't know, it might be due to her Irish and Native American heritage. Sometimes as a youngster, she seemed to have a little sixth sense. And when my daughter brought her over to the staircase that went upstairs to see the bedrooms, she stopped. She looked up the stairs and said, "I have to leave." So she was possibly seeing a former resident who she really didn't want to meet. There are activities for the children. I know all of my grandchildren learned how to make a rope. And there is a petting zoo. And you're in the afternoon, a lot of times you can find a place to sit and you can listen to the Barker Community Band, which is very entertaining, and they have a variety of music. The one thing I remember is I do have a picture of when the Somerset power plant was going full strong. And it was, you could see that white smoke emitting from there. We could see it all over the place. You could see it from Lewiston Hill. And I had a picture of that in the background with the horse doing the work in the field, kind of a contrast of old and new. I don't know if it happens every time, but this year, the Celtic Festival was on the same weekend as this. So you have to kind of keep that in mind to go to the Celtic Festival on Saturday, and then the Farm Festival on Sunday. And they do sell merchandise, as you can see from my shirt. So I'd inspire you, like, even if you're a city person, try out something about farms just to get a different perspective. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Our second evaluator is David Jones, who is evaluating Jackie Kenny. So David, tell us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It was my intention to dress up as Ralph Smedley today, but I was up late watching TV and going berserk. Therefore, this is what you have, a disgruntled sports fan. This morning, Jackie Kennedy, DTM, Kenny, is speaking to us from Dynamic Leadership Level 1, writing a speech with purpose. It's 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose of her speech is to learn to review basic methods for writing a speech and presenting a well-organized speech on a topic. Madam Toastmaster, do you have her title.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Jackie Kenny with Laugh, Grow, Change.
Good morning, everyone. So what do we do in Toastmasters? I can remember trying to explain it to my friends. When I first joined, they all thought I was crazy. 7 o'clock in the morning? How can you talk at 7 o'clock in the morning? Well, you know, I'm mostly Irish. I can talk pretty much any time of day for lengthy periods and sometimes need to be stopped forcefully. Writing a speech, however, is a whole different ballgame. When you sit down to write a speech, it's often very difficult to marshal your thoughts and line things up to make the speech go the way you want it to and get across the message that you want to deliver. How many times have you started a speech and you get one paragraph in and you run dry? No more inspiration, nothing comes up. You know what? Walk away and leave it for a while. Things will come to you. And we have this handy little device now. We can dictate things as we go. When you come up with an idea, put it in there and save it for the next time you need to do a speech. And write about the things that you care about. Any topic can fill a speech requirement in Toastmasters. It doesn't need to be something just like what somebody else presented. Go off on your own. Use your own ideas. Use the things you're interested in, just like we do as topics when we're the Toastmaster. We talk about the things we love. We tell people about the books we've read or the hobbies we have, the things we enjoy, the way we spend time with our friends. What do we like doing the most? I bet the group would be interested in hearing about it. I've belonged to this club for a little over 20 years now. And I'm almost always at the meeting. I don't miss very often. I learned something new at every single meeting I come to. So I've been to hundreds of AM Lockport meetings, and I'm always learning. And that means I'm always growing. And so are all of us. And as we grow, our club grows. You get in your pathways, projects, you do the things you need to do. You fill in the blanks, and it gives you credit for something. You grow as a Toastmaster, and your club grows as well. That's why we get those ribbons. Not every club becomes a distinguished Toastmasters club. That's quite an accomplishment. Yes, we need to bring in new members in order to accomplish it, but we also have to fulfill a lot of requirements, and we all contribute to that. Every single member contributes by doing your projects and recording things in your path. Yeah, not everybody likes to get on the computer. It's a pain. We have to watch those little videos and answer questions, and sometimes you don't really want to do it. But it's an accomplishment for you, and it's an accomplishment for your club. So you always want to make sure you're keeping up with things. Don't go berserk and leave it all behind. Keep following your path and doing the things you need to do to move up in Toastmasters and get that nice badge that says you're a distinguished Toastmaster. And then your club can say, it is a President's Distinguished Club. Quite an accomplishment for all of us. And hopefully we're all going to keep working and getting through our paths. Thank you for your attention, Madam Toastmaster.
Very nice that I can anticipate when the speech is ending, so I can get back up here. Our third evaluator is Marty Johnston. So easy to say Johnston. I just have to think of the restaurant in Ransomville. Who is evaluating Mary Cavagnaro. So Marty, tell us about Mary's speech.
Thank you, Jill. You can call me anything, Jill. Just don't call me late for dinner. Okay, thank you. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, present and on Zoom. This morning, I have the pleasure of evaluating Mary Cavagnaro. She'll be presenting from the Pathways Education Program. Path is Presentation Mastery. And the purpose of her speech is to write a speech with purpose. That's the project. It's timer, 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose is for the member to learn or review the basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The title of Mary's speech is All About Horses. Welcome, Mary Cavagnaro. Morning.
Do I shake your hand too? Because you're so appropriate for this speech, though. You are. I mean, compared to most people that know about horses.
Yeah, I won't fact check you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I was told that I'm gonna be okay because you guys are like family to me. So, first of all, I'm gonna talk about clothing because Jill is specifically dressed for what I'm talking about. You cannot wear sneakers around a horse. You have to wear horseback, like Pacific boots, because or else you'll get stepped on by a horse. No sweatpants, only jeans around a horse, because you don't want them to kick you or anything. And the most important thing is when riding a horse, you have to have a helmet, because no concussions. Why are horses my favorite animal? Horses are my favorite animal because they are warm and fluffy, like a pillow. But sometimes they can be warm. They can get aggressive, especially when they eat. I brought in a horse and she stepped on my boot once and she left a big, huge dent a long time ago. I started riding horses when I was 10 at Equistar, but now I ride in Newfane and Medina, but I won't continue riding till the spring. And one of my photographers, actually, he took a senior picture of me when I posed with a horse, and it was black and white, and the horse unfortunately is dead now. My favorite type of horse is a chestnut. Their fur is copper and reddish brown. I did vitals on a horse. It's just like people, but to check their cart and stuff, but it's in different spots than normal people. Farm experience. So one of my friends has a farm experience in Burt, and they I used to play with their pony and I liked it a lot. And I would groom her and do other stuff with her, jump over poles and walk in the woods with her. And her baby is actually blind. That's not good for a horse. I did grooming and horse experience at Soar Valley when I did a horseback camp. I fell off a horse a couple of times, twice while trotting. And it was the biggest experience was for me was the beginning of September. I had a couple of bee stings and I got stung by ground bees. And it wasn't fun. I ended up in urgent care, but I'm okay. My mom thought it was a cellulitis, but it wasn't. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Oh, now I get to shake your hand.
Yep, now you get to shake the hand. Thank you, Mary. Makes me think of all the times I fell off. It is a rite of horseback riding. They tell you to get right back on, and occasionally you can't. But you do eventually. I have unfond memories of the time that my headstrong little animal decided to take me under a bunch of pear trees. Needless to say, I did not stay in the saddle. And I lost my glasses. I had been begging my parents to get me some new glasses. They were sure that I lost them on purpose. We searched and searched, and we never found them. My mother finally got told by the teachers in school to go get her some new glasses. And the other part of that is I cracked a rib when I fell off. Yeah, I landed that hard. And she was so mad at me for losing my glasses that she would not give me an excuse for gym. Yeah, yeah. Tough love, huh? Okay. Can we have a timers report?
We had 3 speakers, Carol Ann, 6:28, Jackie Kinney, 5:21, and Mary, you had so much more to tell us. I wish you had used your time. It was only 3:43, but it was a wonderful opportunity to share that. And next time, a little bit more.
Thank you, Nancy. So let's go back to Halloween. Was it always my semi-favorite holiday? Probably not. I enjoyed it, but you know, what kid doesn't enjoy Halloween? And then there was Steve. And in the first Halloween season, after we started going out together, he had gone to a Grand Pioneer meeting at Halloween time. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with his count getup, but he showed up at my door with this count makeup on. I did not know he was coming like that. I sent him home. Yes. But then as things grew, after I started enjoying the parties that he had and I was dressing up for it as his faithful witch, which I'm not doing today, obviously. Because that takes a little bit of time myself. You know, this is a lot easier. And we started doing the collecting of things, which Steve had already done a certain amount of decorating and that sort of thing around the house. But compared to what we do now, it was nothing. We were open last night for people to come through. We only had maybe 10 or 15 come through. But it's kind of nice when you have fewer people because you can hear the oohs and ahs more. And the overwhelming questions are, how long does it take you to set up? Well, we actually started about October 1st, although some of it was actually done a little bit before that. We started planning back in who knows when. And where do you keep all this stuff? Well, we have this other house over here that we fill up with stuff. You know, some people have storage lockers that they pay $80 a month for or whatever. We have a house that we pay taxes on for who knows how long. And how long has it taken you to accumulate everything? Which that is something that we just keep getting more and more and finding more ways to put it out there. And we don't just throw things out in a stack of inflatables like some places do and stack up all these inflatables in the front yard with no theme. We try to make a story out of our walk. And hopefully people enjoy it. So we're going to start with our evaluators. Mike Licata is on deck here, waiting to do his evaluation of Carol Ann. So Mike.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, our guests, and especially Carolyn. Carolyn, you did a great job this morning with your really well-researched, you drew from personal experiences with the Somerset Farm Festival. So I want to give you a lot of credit for your imagery through your speech today. It felt like we went through the going up into the farm festival and everything you experienced through your family this morning. So I want to give you a good job with that. A couple of things. This is just a general message to all of our Toastmasters, and it comes in as part of the preparation. I know International redid their website and it was basically down for a month or nobody felt like anybody could access it. Len has done a great job where when I prepare for speeches, I don't even go to the International website till I'm done. Len did a great job dividing the website because when it's our turn to speak, all you have to do is click that little arrow and you get that whole drop down menu of every speech that is in International, and he has done it. So all you have to do is pick the speech topic, it's under every pathway and do it that way. And it pops up on AM Lockport's website, and we can go in as evaluators, and that's how we can pick everything out. Just make sure you save the changes. Because I've gone through that when I help my dad out with speeches too. He forgets to save it, and then everything gets lost. My goodness. So when it comes to preparation, I would just encourage everyone, not just yourself, to ignore everything on the International website until the speech is over. Find the speech you want to give on AM Lockport's website. Save it that way. Put the title in so us as evaluators, we don't have to go and check it every 12 seconds, or we don't have to check it before the speech. To help improve the speech itself is part of inspiring your audience. I found that it is important to use vocal variety. You've been with our club for a little bit longer now, and it's something I encourage you to work on because it definitely helps inspire your audience in different ways. we felt the passion you have, but I think vocal variety would have done a better job to improve the speech. You did it overall, you did a tremendous job. You had a very nice, simple closing that made it a call to action, which is a very nice, simple, tight finish to your speech this morning. You have a lot of passion for the Somerset Farm Festival, and I want to thank you for sharing that with us this morning. And I want to also wish you luck going forward with your speeches.
Thank you, Mike. Our next evaluator is David Jones on Zoom, evaluating Jackie Kenny. So David, let's have it.
Thank you again, Madam Toastmaster. And thank you, Jackie Kenny, for your speech. I like the first thing you did when you walked up was you adjusted the mic, which is not only practical, but it also shows that you're confident and you're relaxed, that you're not going to just start giving a speech right away because you're nervous. I really appreciated that. Based on your title, though, I wasn't really sure where you were going to go. The title was Laugh, Grow, and Change, but so I wasn't sure what you were going to do, but what you did do was a speech writing, at least my perspective, speech writing, how speeches contribute to the club and to one's self. And I believe that you accomplished your goal of writing a speech, presenting it properly with the different sections. You talked about the challenge of speech writing. And not only did you talk about that, you gave us examples. For instance, if you're stuck, just wait, let it marinate in your mind for a while, or we can dictate ideas on the phone. And then you also mentioned write about what you know, what interests you. And that was a good segue into your next section, which was the why. Why do we need to do this? And we learn from each other. We learn from each other's speeches, whether it's personal or educational, by the writing about what we know. So I thought that was a good transition as to the why. And the distinguished clubs is another why. In order to become a distinguished club, we need to have pathway levels completed. We need each member to give pathways and speeches because club officers, as you mentioned, can only do so much to get us to distinguished. And finally, the DTM. That's a big part of giving speeches, something that has still eluded me, even though I'm part of the trio. I think I'm one of the few trio members that does not have my DTM yet, but I'm getting close. Now, I did grasp for something for feedback. But I did find that in the very beginning, you did your generic good morning. And we've already had the good morning, so I prefer that you just go right into the speech, but that's just my perspective. And also the grammarian might pick up on it, but your first word after good morning was so. Maybe not start your speech with a filler word. And finally, I appreciate that you have 20 years at AM Lockport. As part of the trio, I've found the journey that I enjoy new members. We need new members. I love to see them grow and blossom as Toastmasters, but it's the elders and the veterans that I really lean on and help me through my journey as leadership in Toastmasters. So thank you for your 20 years, and I hope you continue along with us. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. And our last evaluator is Marty again, with his evaluation of Mary. So Marty.
Thank you, Jill, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and Mary Elizabeth. What a wonderful speech. I'm glad to have learned more about you. I didn't realize that you loved horses that much. Mary, your speech purpose was to write and present a speech with purpose, and I feel you did that. You excelled at being up here. I feel you're getting more comfortable being up here at the lectern and using the microphone. And you had good eye contact. I saw you were looking over here a couple times. I was fidgeting with something and you looked at me and you saw me and then you looked over here. So you're getting more comfortable up here and that's very important. And yes, we are here and supporting you, as you mentioned in the beginning of your speech. So that makes you feel more comfortable as well. I heard at the start of your speech, you complimented Jill about her outfit and her hat, and that dovetailed right into your speech. And that's a good technique to use. And you started talking right off the bat about clothing. A couple things that I think will help you if you give this speech again, your next speech, I know going into this speech, you wanted to use less notes, and I saw that you did that. You had some bullet points on a couple note cards. That's a great technique to use, and I feel that you're doing that well. But a couple things that I think will even help you even more are to work on. When you start writing your speech, especially a speech like this, a speech with purpose, start writing it. What is it that I want the audience to know? What do I want them to know about horses? Do I want to know all about horses, or I do want to know maybe three main things, such as I just jotted down clothing, safety, and my personal experience. And you had some wonderful ideas there, and I think you can expand on it next time. Like you talked about the clothing and you mentioned Jill's hat, and you could mention you gave some good suggestions about what not to wear, what to wear. But I would have liked to heard a little bit more about the safety, the personal experience. And then the second point would be at the end, to restate your main points. This is about horses. These are the things that I would like to encourage you to go horseback riding. Or if you would like to go horseback riding, I'll go with you. I'll tell you places to go, and we'll go and have a great time. Mary Elizabeth, wonderful speech, and best of luck in your future presentations. And one last thing, if I may add, is I know that you've given a few speeches. The other thing would be is to try to time your speech for time, because you were pretty close to the time. So next time, that would be the other main thing, is to just time your speech a couple times, and then maybe add a little bit more, like I said, about your personal experience. And then I think you would have made time. Well done, Mary. Back to you, Jill.
Thank you, Marty. It's not often that I have to pull the microphone down. But that's okay. Let's have a timer's report. The last time today.
Toastmaster. Mike Licata, 248, David Jones, 239, and Marty Johnston, 309. It sounds like all of them qualified as well.
Thank you, Nancy. It appears they did. So we are having Joe is walking around collecting ballots here, and I know that Len is putting one up online. So do the final voting. Okay, let's do a little bit more Halloween talk. It's all about spirits, skeletons, bats, vampires, witches. Of course, we all know Salem, Massachusetts is one of the centers of Halloween in the United States. I'm sure there's a few other ones that I don't know of. But in themes, we also have, at our display, we have crows or ravens. Steve is looking at me, ravens. They're ravens. Even though some of them are fairly small, they're even smaller than crows. But we have a grumpy fisherman talking about piranhas eating you up. And we actually have some piranhas in the river there. We have the river Styx. Ooh, yes. And let's see. We also have a hearse being pulled by a horse with a couple skeletons, one trying to get into the back of the hearse. See, like I said, we try and create a little bit of a story. The skeleton got left behind. As you can see by the picture in there, in the middle picture, I think it is, I have a sign for real estate development there, just in case you want to buy some property in the Harbor Haven development. Hopefully nobody tries calling that phone number. I don't know what it actually is. So let's see, we have lots of skeletons now. We got 7 new skeletons this year. And I've come up with ideas of how to dress them for things, but we haven't had time or the inclination to find enough hats and that sort of thing. We do have 2 skeletons playing the Halloween game of chess. So that's, but then we have a couple coffins. And let's see, we've got our bartender and our card player skeletons sitting at the bar, talking to each other. Not actually to each other, over each other if they activate them. So there's a lot to see and do there if you want to come down tonight, if you don't have anything to do at your house, which I think most of you live in Lockport and you're going to have tons of kids. No? Yes. We used to get 1 or 2 at our house, maybe. Now we get a couple hundred. I'll see what it is tonight. I don't know. I try to keep track. So, Tracy is going to come up and give us a WAG report.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The word of the, let me give a special shout out to Mary. She did a fantastic job as a beginner speaker. There were no ahs, fantastic. The word of the day started off fantastic. There was Mike Florio, Sylvia Baptiste, Jill twice, Carol Ann, David Jones, and Jackie all used the word of the day today. Now, some of our more experienced Toastmasters did use a couple of ahs. We have Jill, Maggie had a couple, Steve, Dave Licata, and Carol Ann all had ahs. One of the grammars, I wish our grammar queen Margot was here because online, I need to sit next to her so she can tell me why this is wrong. Carol Ann said many tractors. To me, it sounded a little bit odd. I would have used numerous tractors in it. I don't know why. Margot can tell us exactly if it was an adverb or something like that and give me the technical reason why it sounds wrong. And David Jones did shout out that we use a lot of crutch words. So and so's, quite a few of them today. I would suggest as us experienced Toastmasters, we practice our transitional phrases to avoid those crutch words. And that is my report for the day.
Great. Thank you, Tracy. And I'm going to leave the microphone down for Sylvia, our quiz master. Let's see how well we listen today.
Thank you. Glad you did this. I was planning on only about 3 or 4 questions, and as the meeting progressed, it's like, oh, I'm going to ask this one. I'm going to ask this one. So I'm going to start with, where did Steve and Jennifer come from today, this morning? Clarence, yes, Clarence Toastmasters. Steve Smith opened up with
Edgar Allan Poe.
the Raven, yes. And who is Maggie dressed as this morning?
Velma.
And I didn't know Velma's last name. I forgot all about her last name. Digley? Yes, I forgot about that. And also Steve came up and talked, our guest came up to talk about his favorite candy.
Reese's.
But the white one, white chocolate. I haven't tried that one yet.
am the Cliff Clayton of this group, and I will tell you how these cups came to be.
Oh, Dave Laquette is going to tell him the history of Reese's Cups. Dave Laquette's Wonder Years. What did he refer to? A neighbor's garage with donuts and apple cider. Carol's granddaughter was at what place where the former resident appeared to her? The Babcock house. Jackie said she what at each meeting? She learned something, right, Len? And then Mary, at what age did you start ride horses? 10. And what is your favorite one? Chestnut, the copper red and brown horses.
And I'll leave the microphone down for our general evaluator, Katie, who is still writing. I hope she's not being too critical here.
I know, right? Never show any spirit. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Another round of applause for an excellent meeting today. Bravo. I have to ask, Jill and Steve, did you volunteer to be Toastmaster and Inspirator of the day, or was that how the dice fell? Well done, Mike, Len, whoever handled that, because we only every 7 years get a Halloween on a Toastmasters Day. And who better but Jill and Steve to run our start and finish? Well done. I would love to go through some things, and since we do have some time, I do have some things to share about us. I will go right to table topics first. Well done, Eric, and thanks for calling on our new folks. And we heard more about them and one of our founding members, so we had quite a spread there. Velma, oh my gosh, I never thought about her being one of my original STEM inspirators, if that's a word. She is such an inspiration, and you are too. Welcome to the club. I loved her for all the reasons you mentioned. Maybe that's my costume next year. I'm excited. I got that height thing going on. I just have contacts, put my glasses on. Steve, our second competitor, I fully agree. Not with the Twizzlers, as you heard me say, but oh my goodness. And that white chocolate, have you had the white chocolate ghosts? And the werewolf tracks are half white chocolate, half of the milk chocolate. Oh my goodness. That Reese's company, they have marketing mavens on their side. I mean, they make drizzled popcorn, cereal, cupcakes, but the original is the original. Do you like them cold? Some people really like them cold. I like them a little melty, just a little bit melty. They're the best. I'm going to jump then to David, of course, but then back to that topic. So David, the memory trip, Carlisle Gardens. I think, Dave, I've given you more support than many others since we've been members together for so long. So the newbies get a chance too. That was wonderful though. And cider and donuts, you can't beat that. But the Reese topic is interesting because of our guests today, our guest online, perfect timing, new to Toastmasters, is driving, so can only observe and not interject, but her name is Catherine Reese. Hello, Reese. Yum. So when we spoke the other day by phone, when she called me, I thought after we hung up, oh, Halloween, perfect, that she's our visitor. So safe travels wherever you are heading to Pennsylvania. She does live in Youngstown and she's eager to visit us in person when she can. Okay, to our evaluators, very well done. Mike, you stepped forward and captured this lectern. You do that with confidence. I at first noticed the grasping of the pen and I thought, oh, I found something I can suggest. And then you put it down and the Italian hands flourished. And you are so good, like your family, at giving us that smooth, strong gestures to add effectively to your evaluation of Carol's speech. You gave her some excellent points. Throw your dad under the bus a little bit. Not sure how I feel about that. That's also Italian. I get it. I am guessing, however, that many of us, maybe most of us, have forgotten to save our projects once at least when we are going through the pathways. And you could offer, hey, Carol, I'll help you sometime. Or I'll help your daughter help you, because I know she does help you a lot on the tech. Just ask her. She'll figure it out. There's a bit of a learning curve, But that's on us to also, as a club, hold some more sessions to help our members understand our website and understand the international website. That's something that your officers can help you with. David, fabulous. Zooming in from wherever you are in the world, you're always traveling, but maybe right now, North Carolina. I loved your language as a former English teacher. I love your vocabulary. You're smooth and poised with that. However, your favorite word today was gonna. It makes it casual, and I love that. And you could pull off Ralph Smedley, our Toastmasters founder, for Halloween. I thought, well done. Marty, very clear, very supportive of Mary. You've known her for longer than she's been a Toastmaster. I know from speaking with Mary that you have helped her along the way for this speech and guiding her with note cards. I love that you were prepared and guided her in being prepared. You gave her such good suggestions. The only thing I could think of, because you're such a strong evaluator, was a couple of times you gave a glowing compliment and then said, but, and then went to somewhere else. Mark Campos, who is on Zoom as our Zoom master, an excellent evaluator, has encouraged us to avoid the word but, because it kind of contradicts whatever you said that was glowing, like, nah, but. So we say and Sylvia did that, and I loved it. There was a point where she could have said but, she didn't. She said and when she was giving something. I don't even know what you were saying, but it did strike me as, perfect. And I was going to ask Mark for that as a demonstration, but I think you all understand that in the interest of time. I would like to say, back to Jill, super theme, super agenda, super toast. One suggestion would be save the WAG master for last. I never said berserk. I know that Jill thinks I'm berserk sometimes, for sure. And also, let's let our guests share something, but we still have time to do that, so you didn't miss that. I did bring lots of masks and props, and they're provided. We're doing a group photo, folks. So you in the room, we will now, with our new President's Distinguished Ribbon that we put up here, I encourage you to grab a prop, not required, but let's do that in like 3 minutes after we wrap up. And I would love to invite Mary back up to help close out our meeting. And I know that Eric has an announcement. So while they're conferring, Eric, can you, and one other thing was, there were a lot of members that didn't say anything today. We might have time for that, but we might close the meeting to do the recording and then have time for Margot or Dave Channon or Mark, anyone else who is on that would like to share something. Eric, you're first. Since you texted, you have an announcement.
Yes, before we do that, Kate, can we invite our guests to come up and share how they liked about our meeting beforehand?
Well, Steve and Jennifer, would you like to come up together? And Avis, did you want, as your guests, would you like to all three just come up as a team? All righty. Eric is our president, so we'll do what he says. So you're welcome to come up. Did you want to speak in the microphone a little bit? I mean, come right
Sure.
over.
Well, I am a new Toastmaster. Tomorrow I'll be doing my icebreaker, so I'm brand new. We wanted to come and see another club, see how you interact with hybrid environments and make sure that those online feel just as interactive with the day as those that are in the room. So we really enjoyed watching how you guys do that.
Thank you very much. This was a wonderful meeting, and not only was it cool seeing the tech and how you set up for the hybrid meeting, but also the warmth, the support, the friendliness, and the invitation that you give people. So I just really wanted to thank you for not only the virtual climate, but the in-person climate as well.
It is always a pleasure to be here. I love coming to your meetings. They're worth getting up for. I have a couple other things that you might want to attend online. For example, this Saturday morning, we are having, as a district, we're having the new pathways, explaining, for example, did you know where to find your next path if you need to buy one? I needed to buy one and I couldn't find it. Anyway, we're going to tell you all about this. That wasn't as easy as before, but it's amazing. So this Saturday morning, November 9th, we have a contest planning and judging workshop going on. Tuesday, the 12th, we have Welcome to Toastmasters. Welcome to Toastmasters. It is one of the most important workshops that we do. Jen, you went to it. Yep, everybody should come. Thank you. And let's see, where are you going to find the links for these? On the 65-second update, every member gets it. Just Google it, see where it went. I mean, you're in your folder. Did it go to your spam folder or whatever? Comes out on the 15th of the month. And one last thing, the newsletter comes out on the 1st of the month. So that will be tomorrow. And all of these links will be in there. Good to be with you.
All right. Announcements that I
David
have.
Shannon has an announcement, I guess.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I know you think I'm very shy and I don't like to talk much. Well, surprise, surprise. Well, David Jones is in this meeting. We would like to invite you to learn American Sign Language. He has formed an organization. He's putting up a website so you can connect. We are teaching ASL every Monday at noon, and we've had some nice attendance already, and we want to get more. And I just love teaching sign language. I've been teaching things for 47 years. So I'm going to teach you something this morning appropriate for today. This is happy. This is happy in sign language. Very simple. You probably played this with your toddlers when they were little. Halloween. Halloween. It's like peekaboo. Halloween. Happy Halloween. So if you could teach that to your children, to your grandchildren, and they might get some more candy. This is a sign for candy. So happy Halloween and candy, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, David. That is pretty cool. I do have announcements before we wrap up the meeting today. I mentioned this to the officers, and I did mention it about a couple weeks ago. December 26th is a Thursday. It's the day after Christmas. Talking about not planning a meeting for that day. So I would like to open up for a vote to say not to have a meeting on that day. Margot, did you have something?
Yeah, what about just doing a Zoom only? Instead of meeting together, just let's do a Zoom, and whoever's available can just Zoom in, and we'll have whatever abbreviated meeting there is or something like that.
I think that's a terrific idea.
Because
Okay,
we
can
may
do
not be
that.
able to travel in, but I'd still like, day after Christmas for me, So
Okay,
anyway, but I
so-
just thought if we just Zoom only, let's, see how many people we can get on. Bring your favorite beverage. It's, it doesn't have to be coffee that morning. So that's my
Okay, so-
suggestion.
No, I like that suggestion. Does anybody want to be on it? Please do. I think that would be a good idea. Thank you, Margot and Mark, for your input. So we'll do a meeting on Zoom on the 26th. If our Zoom tech gurus can help us out with that. Another thing, David Licata is our Toastmaster next week, and it's another fall open house. Spread the word. We're doing an open house next week, and Dave Licata is our Toastmaster. Dave, I know you probably have a theme or.
No, he does not.
He does not. Well, we'll look forward to his email with that in the coming days. Our speakers are Mark Campos, Mike Florio, and Marty Johnston. And that's what I have on my end. So with that, I will invite our officers, and we'll now announce the winners of our meeting today. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Eric. The one other announcement I have, which Katie can probably take care of this with Marty, he would like Catherine Reese's contact information. So for the guest book. Okay. So winners. Table topics. Maggie Craig. She's saying again. In costume as Velma. Best evaluator, Marty Johnston. And best speaker, Jackie Kenny. Okay.
And I know better too. Our last three digits of the winning number, 722.
Yay.
All right, very good.
Steve Smith.
My Stevie one. Yay. Okay. Yeah, write your name on the back for a second chance for dues drawing. Mary is going to close our meeting off as. Yep.
I guess the meeting is closed.
But you get to pound the gavel.
Eric was happy I got to. Hey, everybody, let's do a group photo just because it's fun and there's a lot of folks here today. We would love to have, you don't have to wear a mask, I won't make you, but those are props, man. We're not pumping. Let's do it in 90 seconds. We're gonna do it at our banner. Pick out a banner. Some folks have to leave. Pick out a prop or mask or dome, and let's come up to the banner with our new ribbon. We're always so fit. Just watch your steps with the table, as always.